Hi folks, how you doing? This is Iqbal with NVIDIA Daily Analysis. Today, NVIDIA stock price movement was almost flat. So more volatility we observed today. And this is in line with my yesterday expectation. In this video, we'll discuss NVIDIA stock price movement for today and try to make an assessment for early next week using technical charts and fundamentals. Now, let's get started. Starting with the daily summary, Nvidia opened at 119.08. It made a high 119.96. It made a low 117.60 and it closed at 119.10. That is 0.034% down. So if you take a look today's Nvidia stock price movement, you see more ups and downs, no clarity, no direction in today's stock price movement. The good thing is, even if Nvidia went down by the closing, but the drop was not too big, it's very minimal. So in yesterday's video, I made a comment that there is a chance that Nvidia might go down a little bit in next few days because the past 4 or 5 days we haven't seen any drop or any dip on Nvidia. So last 4 or 5 days, Nvidia was about 12 to 13% up, right? So some small dip was due on Nvidia, and I'm guessing early next week there is a chance that Nvidia can go down a little bit, but not much. But overall, I think that by end of next week, Nvidia should close as a positive week. Moving on, last 5 days, Nvidia is still up about 13.5%. Last 1 month, 2.55% up. Last 6 months is 31% up. And year to date, 147.25% up. So even if Nvidia is up about 150% in last 9 months, but Nvidia still has more room to go further up in next 3 months. I'll make another video sometime tomorrow in which I will present my findings on when can Nvidia touch 150. Now let's take a look weekly candlestick chart for Nvidia. So we had a weekly closing today. So in this week, you see that Nvidia closed as a positive week, the green candlestick chart. Before that, last 2 weeks in a row, we had negative closing week on Nvidia. So remember last week, Friday, I made a comment that this week is more likely to be a positive week for Nvidia. So that's what happened this week. And for next week, I think that even if Nvidia might show more volatility early next week and some dip, but overall, I think Nvidia should close as a positive green week next week as well. My target would be 125 or 126 by end of next week. Now let's take a look forward P for Nvidia. Nvidia forward P at this point is at 38.67. As we noted yesterday, is much higher than the last week. And next week as well, we might see forward P going up further. Palantir 104.68. Palantir is having a very good time since last week or so. SMCI 14.39. SMCI had another good day today, and I'll probably make another video for SMCI as well because in my opinion in next few weeks SMCI should be going further up before the actual stock split sometime early next month. AMD 39.56, much higher than the last week closing. So AMD also had a very good week. Now let's take a look percentage change analysis for Nvidia for this quarter. So as you can notice at this point the cumulative percentage change for Nvidia after the last earnings report is at 2.28%. So Nvidia is still in the positive region. So this cumulative percentage change analysis also suggests that Nvidia has more room to go further up before the next earnings. So my position on Nvidia has not changed. Now let's take a look technical charts for Nvidia. You see 180-day hourly interval chart for Nvidia and also MACD chart. So you can notice the blue line or MACD line is still in the positive region above the zero line. So that still suggests that positive momentum with Nvidia is still there. It's going weak, but it's still Nvidia in the positive region. And this also suggests that, we should expect some volatility early next week as well. Because you can notice the slope of going down is very steep. So that tells the buying and the selling forces are trying to balancing out each other very well. So that tells in the short term no clarity on the direction. But in the long term, the momentum is still positive. If you take a look at Fibonacci levels, you can notice that at this point NVIDIA is above 115 support level. And as I mentioned yesterday that in next few days NVIDIA should be moving between 125 and 115. So far so good, is in line with my expectation. We'll see what happens on Monday. If 115 gets broken, then the next level of support is 108 and that's a strong support level. On the upper side we have 125 as a resistance, and in my opinion that's a strong resistance as well. And that is still my litmus test. I guess by end of next week Nvidia should touch 125. So if Nvidia breaks 125 in just first attempt, it won't be easy to stop Nvidia from going further high. So it will take very less time to reach 140 after that. That's my opinion. So that's why I think that it should get a pushback before reaching 125. Now let's take a look news regarding Nvidia. Starting from the first one that says rates could fall below 3% in this cycle. And this is from barons.com. I guess they are very aggressive on the rate cut. I don't think Fed can reach 3% by the end of this year. Probably it will take more time to reach 3% level. And now let's take a look this one, and that's interesting. US indexes rise this week amid speculation Fed considering 50 basis points cut next week. So now you see that market already started assuming that Fed could do 50 basis point rate cut. So that's why you see market is going up in the last 2 3 days with that speculation. But in my opinion, maybe they will do 25 basis point in the first attempt. Please write in the comment section what do you guys think. Do you think they will go for 50 basis point this time or 25 basis point? So with that being said, if they do 25 basis point, that won't be a good news for the market. And probably we might experience some kind of volatility after the Fed meeting or some drop after the Fed meeting. So this week is very critical for the overall market. So now this one, and this is good for Nvidia, that says Nvidia secures US government node to sell AI chips to G42. So that's good. Nvidia started gaining some relaxation on the export to other countries. So another one, and that says gold breaks to a new high and can do much higher. Stocks and gold running on 50 basis point cut. So again, you see that market assumes that Fed is going to do 50 basis point rate cut. So gold and the stocks both going up with that expectation. So now this one, and this is again good for Nvidia, and this is from Morgan Stanley. It says that Nvidia still has a very compelling story, says Morgan Stanley. So this means that overall the financial institutions are positive on Nvidia. We saw something from Bank of America, some comment from Citi, even if Citi was little concerned on Nvidia, but they still maintain the price target of 150. So now this is also good for Nvidia. This says Nvidia's chip supply to Saudi boosts regional sentiment, says expert. I think regionally it is great. So that's good, right? So Nvidia is getting more support on the export to other countries from the Biden administration. So I guess that's all about Nvidia stock news for today. Now let's take a look other AI stocks. So as you notice in my watch list, it's a mixed picture. Some are red and some are green. But overall, you see, even if some stocks are red, but the drop is not that big. So that tells that volatility is still there in the market, but overall the trend is not downward. You know, this might be a short-term thing. And the highest positive change you see on SMCI 3.4%. So my assessment I made yesterday and probably day before as well, and I had an opinion before the actual stock split, SMCI should gain more momentum. Now let's take a quick look on the economic data due next week. So for next week, Monday, nothing much. Tuesday, I don't see any big data coming. Wednesday, we have the FOMC interest rate cut decision and Mr. Powell press conference. So that day is very important for the market. And Thursday, we have weekly initial jobless claim. So I guess Thursday and Friday next week, the market would move depending on how much the rate cut Fed has done on Wednesday. So I guess that's all about NVIDIA analysis and assessment for next week. I do not see anything negative for NVIDIA at this point. So looks like next week would also be good for NVIDIA. I think that we, the NVIDIA shareholders, should stay positive next week as well. I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you more tomorrow. Take care.